Halo semua, kita coba lagi.
Aduh,
Nah,
minta maaf sekali.
akhirnya, it's okay. Kita tidak tahu kenapa. Anyway, let's continue. Yeah. So, um, so where did you get? Kita tadi stop di mana ya? Where did we
Um,
stop?
I think you, you were asking about reading. I don't remember what it was.
The
I think,
frequency.
yeah, frequency of reading. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so yeah, you said, oh no, 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 you have answered that. You said you already share about it. You say you were saying that you read like very quickly and then you start reading Indonesian book. Yeah.
oh yeah, Indonesian books. You were asking about Indonesian books. Yes.
So what
Um,
was the title and yeah, what was or what maybe the genre or the theme of the book that you are reading, Indonesian one.
for Indonesian books, I think I've only read fantasy, probably fantasy. Yeah, judulnya Hujan. It was Hujan by Terelie. That was the first book that I really liked. Yes, and then Aroma Karsa, I think that was another. That was I really liked those books. But the thing is, in Indonesian like book, it's either like adult or it's very shallow. In my opinion, it's like that. So it's really hard to find one that's like in the middle, and that's why I don't really read a lot. But I'm planning to read more Indonesian books.
In your school, you find a lot of Indonesian book as well.
Um, I think we started in like a little Indonesian library in yeah, like a few years ago, and there are some books, like some classical books, like I think it was Bumi Manusia, yeah, one of that, and then ada Cantik Itu Luka by Eka Kurniawan, and then there are some classics, and then they put some of the popular books in as well, like Terelie, like she wrote, there are some of her books, and then there were what is it, Laskar Pelangi, I think, yes, there was that as well, and yeah, I want to read it, all of them, so that's one of my my goals, like reading goals.
Nice, really nice. I mean, I envy you because I mean, it's a great thing to
Mm-hmm.
read and especially in our time, yeah, in when we use social media a lot, when we just scroll through the handphones. But if you read, it just it's I mean I don't know. I also love reading, but I don't have much time, or maybe I didn't make time
Mm,
like you are.
yeah.
So, I mean, I love to go back to that habit. It's really great.
Mm.
But actually, I just finished reading one novel which has been postponed for a long time. So I'm really happy with myself. But
What's the title?
the journey. It's a the setting is in Japan, and it's written by a Japanese writer, but it Jiro Osaragi. But it's in English, and it is the setting is in Japan in the transition time after the American occupation. So it's really
Hmm.
nice. It's kind of like a little bit like Jane Austen's work, which is talk about love, but actually she is trying to, saying something about what happened in
Hmm.
their society during her time, kind of thing. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting. So that's why I mean, yeah, like maybe before we go into the book, what is your favorite what is it, writer or author of all time? Maybe just one from your the I mean, you can just say it. Doesn't have to be from which category or stuff. Like out of your head, like who is your favorite author, like, and why?
I would say my favorite author of all time would be Rick Riordan because I love mythology and that I've read the entire Percy Jackson series, the entire Heroes of Olympus series, planning to finish Magnus Chase series, and yeah, Rick Riordan is probably my like top author of all time.
Mhm. Oh, you say you love mythology, is it?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And what is it? And like the
Papa, no,
Christian one,
no. Hmm?
oh, the
Christian?
Christian one.
I would Christian. I would say. I don't
Like,
know for sure. I would say either Francine Rivers or I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Tessa Afshar, something like that. Yeah. Either one of the
okay,
two I really like.
all right. Nice, nice. We need to have more time later where you can, spill some of your, some of the, your all-time favorite, titles of the
Authors.
book, yeah, order or yeah, and why, because it's interesting, there's something about the plot that makes us, eager to not put the book down and just try to finish it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's jump into the book that we have promised that we're gonna talk about. Okay, first thing first. I wanna ask, how many times already you read and reread, and when is the first time? And this time, because I know that you told me that you just start reading it again because you and your company your mom to the bookstore. So when was
Yeah.
the first time? When was the first time? And this time it's already how many time? Like fourth, fifth? Yeah.
So I think I read Pride and Prejudice for the first time in eighth grade, if I'm not wrong.
So
And
as a
yes, in eighth grade. Yeah, and I think I've reread it almost 5 times now. I think,
wow.
yeah. It's
The
crazy.
most
It's really.
recent one. The recent one is already fifth
Hmm?
time. Yeah. The recent one is
Mm.
it's fifth time. Wow. Okay. Okay. So five time already, and the first time you read it, like you finish it like after how many days?
I would say um 1 to 2 days because I was pretty young
Wow.
and the language was a bit confusing. It wasn't hard to understand, but it was kind of confusing, but I still really liked the plot, so yeah.
Wow, because you know what? That you know why? Because the reason why we decided to talk about this book is because I was writing it for my bachelor thesis.
Mhm.
Thesis S1-nya Mama Anna, I was writing about it, and I find it very hard to even finish the book
Oh.
in order in order for us to write about it, we need to finish reading it first. That's
Mhm.
why I challenge myself to do it because I will like, oh my god, and it is the simplified English version. So the English is not well. There are lots of difficult words, but we
Mhm.
can still follow, yeah. And this is like me back in my bachelor, I mean, kuliah day, So I was so amazed that you have read it in in your kelas 1 SMP ya, 8th grade ya. Wow,
Uh,
and it
dua,
kelas 2
kelas 2
SMP.
SMP.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, yeah, sorry, sorry, kelas 2 SMP,
Mhm.
right, right. Oh my God, I'm already old when I read it, you know. But maybe because because you're studying in HAS, so you know you have access to that, and yeah. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful because I know that there are 61 chapters, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, it is such a because it's a great work.
Mm-hmm.
It has become the movie. I mean, and I think there are
Mm-hmm.
several versions of Hollywood movie. It's like it's a classic novel. So it's amazing. It's so amazing. Anyway, yeah. So let's start talking about it. And yes, is it the only novel that you read for the fifth time already, or do you have another novel that you like to read and reread?
I think Pride and Prejudice is the only one I've read like 5 times. But there's another Book of 1,000 Days. I think that was it. We read it 3 times. And then the Percy Jackson series, I think I've reread all once, like the second time. Like, yeah, I think those are the only ones I've reread so far.
Oh my God. I was so, that night when we decided that we're going to talk about it, I was
Yes.
like, I never think of this book. I mean, we have always tried to do something together, and I never think of this. Like, I never recall that. And there you are, say, "Oh, I've read this for the fifth times." I was so excited, and I was so excited, and then we we said the opening sentence together, and we
Mm-hmm.
were so happy,
Yes.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
this is the first time I feel like so excited with a person who also read it, because the only time because anytime I talk about this to anybody from abroad, especially like yeah like people who I work with or the consultant that I met when I was working to the
Mm-hmm.
international organizations, they say that they know it, and oh, you read it, so I feel excited because somebody know it, because I never met anybody who know about it, but it doesn't matter because it's an English novel, and English is not our main language, but I think it's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. Beautiful in a way that because I like it because it was written by a woman, and she can capture beautifully all the problems that she experienced or she witnessed during her time. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about this a lot. I want you to talk about it a lot because you read it more than me, and you know it maybe better than myself because you read it 5 times. Great, it's amazing. Okay, anyway, so let's start talking about that book, that beautiful book. So yeah, you wanna talk about it? Like maybe you wanna share something that you remember, or like if I never read about it, you wanna talk about it? Like what is it about?
Well, so the title is Pride and Prejudice. It is by Jane Austen. And this book was set in Regency England, and that is the time period is around 1811 to 1820, I think. And so the book basically follows this family called the Bennet family, where Mr. and Mrs. Bennet have 5 girls, and the mom is kind of like obsessed with getting these girls married, and that's like the driving force of the entire book. Like the opening line says that like a man
It is
of good fortune must be in want of a wife, and so that's
let's
really
let's
what's
let's say it
happening
together.
here. Oh,
You want to say it together?
it sure.
It is
I
one,
don't.
two, three. One,
It
two,
it
three.
is a
It is a
it is
truth.
a truth
Truth
universally
personally acknowledged.
acknowledged that a single
A
man
single
in
of
Man of
large
good
fortune,
fortune must be in want of a wife.
want of life. Yes, yes, yes. That's the opening sentence that set the entire novel, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
and then you like immediately see how there was a this like rich guy who moved into the neighborhood, and the mom was like, "Oh, I have to get him married with one of my girls," and so she sets him up with the oldest girl, the eldest, Jane, and so it like after that the entire plot like goes on with how her mother just tries so that Jane gets get along well with this family, and then she ended up one day like staying at their house, the what do you call it, the Netherfield estate. She ended up staying there, and then what is it called? Yeah, she ended up staying there, and there was
Got
like a
sick.
second. It was like, mhm.
Because he got sick, right?
Yeah, she got sick. And then what is it? So that's like one of the main characters, and then the other is Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. So Mr. Darcy is Mr. Bingley's friend who came by with him, and he's like 10 times richer, but he's also like 10 times snobbier and 10 times more arrogant.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And then Elizabeth is Jane's younger sister, like the one after her. And so Elizabeth obviously does not like Darcy. She thinks he's arrogant and like self-righteous and all that. And but then when her sister got sick, she had to go, and she was like, "Oh, I have to visit my sister." So she went, and then there, Mr. Darcy started to like her, and it was, but she still thinks that, oh, this guy's just like this arrogant dude. I don't want anything to do with him. And they didn't get along well, and it got worse when after Jane got better, they went back to their house, and it got worse when suddenly Mr. Bingley had to leave town, when the prospect of marriage between Jane and Mr. Bingley was like super close. Like it was almost, he almost proposed, but then he suddenly moves out, and they're like, wait, what's happening? And Jane is heartbroken and all that. And then another man came into like the picture. It was Mr. Wickham, and he told like a rumor that destroys like Darcy's reputation in the eyes of everyone in town. So they didn't like him, and now they hate him. So that's basically what happened with him. And
Really?
Elizabeth sort of like thinks of Mr. Wickham as her friend. So she's like, oh, I hate Darcy even more now. And then I think Jane went to London, and then Elizabeth went on this like trip with oh wait, no, not yet, sorry. She went to visit her friend who lives, I think, near Darcy's aunt, and there Darcy proposed to her, and she was like, what? She was so surprised, and she told him what she thinks of him, right? And so she's like, oh, you're like arrogant, you're so evil, you can't even like, you what is it, you're the reason that Bingley left my sister and all that. And so she was just raging against him, and he was like, what? And
Really?
yeah, it and then after that, I don't know, I think I'm going on and on.
No, 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 no,
And
no.
then
Please go ahead. This is the summary of the
and then
right?
yeah, and then after that, what is it, so Darcy was like, he was like so surprised that she said no, and it was so funny. He was so surprised. So he was like, oh, okay. And so he just left, and then he came back and he gave her a letter, and he left. And then in that letter, he explained everything of why he acted that way and all that. And she was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm wrong. And the next few chapters go on with how so Jane went to town to London, and then she goes on a trip with her aunt and uncle, and they pass through Darcy's like estate. So Darcy is really rich, and she just sees like this like big mansion, and I find it really funny when she was like, oh, like, just to think that a few days ago I would have been like the mistress of this house, And I was like, girl, what? It's so funny. And then
Yeah.
and she kept on asking like like I think the housekeeper, she was like, you're sure the master is not home, right? And the housekeeper was like, yes, don't worry. And then they walk out and Darcy was walking up, and it was very embarrassing for the both of them. It was so funny. They were like, what are you doing here? And Elizabeth's like, oh, what if he thinks I'm throwing myself in his way again? But then Darcy was really nice. That was that was like so surprising. He was super nice. He was, what do you call it? They say it's civil to his aunt and uncle. He treated them well. He introduced her to his sister, and she felt like, oh, like a 180 change from you when you were back in Derbyshire and stuff like that. And so, and yeah, and then they found out that her youngest sister eloped with Mr. Wickham, and that threw them all in like, whoa, in like a rage. They were like, oh no, what's gonna happen? And ended up
And he
being
was
that,
a
I'm gonna skip over, what is it, Lydia and Wickham, they ended up getting married and not just eloping, and the reputation of the Bennett sisters were saved. And then she found out that it was Darcy who made sure everything went well. And I was like, oh, that was so cute. Yeah, she found that out. And then his aunt came by, and she was trying to make her promise not to marry Darcy because she said something about him being engaged to her daughter. But Elizabeth was like, I'm not gonna say that, even though I'm not engaged. And yeah, it's kind of complicated. And then Darcy came with Mr. Bingley, and Mr. Bingley proposed to Jane and apologized for being a coward and leaving town suddenly and all that. And then Darcy also, like, he asked her again. He was like, if your feelings have changed, tell me, because mine have not. And it was really cute. It was really cute. So, and then, well, they ended up together, obviously. And yeah, I just really like this book.
So you like happy ending?
Yes. If I know it has a sad ending, I probably won't read it.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then Wickham is a soldier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wickham is a soldier, and that means there is like historically the setting, or that there was like a war between the English and Germany, or France, if I'm not mistaken. So all the young boys who are from the maybe lower class, obviously they will need to be registered so that they will be ready once the country need them, right, to fight with another country, right? And this is like in England. The setting of the story is in England, yeah. And I think one of the reason why Darcy's aunt tried to persuade Elizabeth not to marry Darcy is because she thinks that the Bennet family, Elizabeth and her sisters, are not from the rich, like from the social, their social status are lower than Darcy's, kind of thing. Like there are what is it? Not case, but case is like more Indian, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think it's social class. Social class is the word I'd say.
right, social class. So Master Darcy is quite rich, yeah, very rich, and I like it because Elizabeth can turn him down, can turn his proposal down, right? In time where Mary, not to mention marry a very rich man, just to be proposed to Mary is something that is, every woman is dreaming about it at the time, right? So yeah, okay. Tell me more. What do you think of the characters? Like, who do you like more, Jane or Elizabeth? Because we have the protagonist and the antagonist, right? Who is your protagonist?
Yes. Yeah, I really like Elizabeth. Just, like Jane is amazing, but she thinks too well of other people, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Makes her like gullible. So yeah, I really like Elizabeth. She might be kind of like proud and sassy, but it's good. I like her character.
What is one character of Elizabeth that you really like?
I would say I like her confidence in her like herself. Like she was not she stayed true to like her principles. Like she said she won't marry unless it's for love, and that's what she did. And when Lady Catherine came and what is it? Tried to intimidate her. She didn't. Yeah, intimidate her. She was like, "No, I'm not gonna listen to you because like you are nobody." I really like that attitude. I really like that. It's a good change from like I don't know, sinetron, where the women are always like bowing down to the mother. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting, yeah, like how Jane Austen portray and develop her characters, and we can finally fall in love to someone and hate someone, right? It's like it's still our emotion, right? And that's how great she is. Like in any story, but especially in this one. And also there is a because I'm reading also it makes me read again the synopsis, and maybe I will have to rewrite my thesis my because I think I miss a lot of things from my analysis earlier. But there is also one character, I think his name is Mr. Collins. He is a young, you still remember him? He is a young clergyman, like a young pastor.
I'm so sorry.
Remember?
You're lagging. Hear you.
Okay. There is one more character. Can you hear me well now?
Yes.
One more character, a man. He is Mr. Collins. Still remember him? He is the clergyman, and he is hired. He's hired to their property because Mr. Bennet do not have any son. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Because once they get married, they will be, they have to follow their husband. So all the wealth will be given to Mr. Collins, and he then married Charlotte Lucas, who is a good friend of Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yes.
Yeah. It's interesting, like how long it is. I mean, right? How Jane Austen is very patient to capture all the story and all the plot and all the going to visit this family, going to London. Like she is really diligent in putting together the story, and capturing everything in the story, but still makes us want to follow and finish it, no matter how detailed it is, right? Can you hear me? Do you miss me somewhere?
I'm sorry, you were lagging again.
Okay. Did you catch what I said last?
No, I didn't catch that.
Okay. Yeah. It's just interesting how long it is, the novel. Yeah.
Yes.
Then how Jane Austen is being very patient and very diligent. Not patient. Diligent to write everything down, like all the story and all. Going to visit this family, and they were traveling using train. I think they already have train, but also carriage, right?
Carriage, yeah.
Just the context of that time. the setting, right? And yeah, okay, so that's what you love from Elizabeth, and uh, and then I don't know. Because I mean they are the main characters, so Jane Austen talk about them a lot, and we don't know much. I mean, we don't know much about the other sisters characters, yeah. But definitely the one who are
Mm-hmm.
running away with
Yeah.
Master Wickham, like not so strong one, not like her sister, not like Elizabeth, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Elizabeth, I think she also stand up for her sister a lot, yeah, like her sisters,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Even if
I love that
it,
about her.
yeah, she stand up for what she thinks is right. Like, yeah, like that's the wonderful character of Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it that, and then she can finally turn the proposal down, right?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. And also the like the language, all the language that she used, yeah, like in this novel, it's amazing. So you like in when you read the novel, you read the simplified one, or you challenge yourself to read like just the normal one.
I think I don't know if the one I have is the simplified version, but I don't think I've ever read the simplified version. I don't think, but I usually try to read the actual novel because it's really funny. I find the comedy and all that really funny, like with the
Yeah,
actual language itself. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. The first time I read it, I have to underline many words and check it out in
Oh,
the. How about you? I mean, do you do that too, or you wait until if, like the bit that you want to read at the day finish and then you check it out, or you just go, you just continue going and reading, even if you find some words, but then you figure it
um,
out. Oh, this must be mean this.
I think I try to do that. I try to highlight the word and like, oh, I should look it up later. But then I don't end up doing it. And in the end, I just reread it like a few years later. And usually by that time, I already know what the word means, like from
Oh
school
yeah,
and
yeah,
all that. So
yeah,
it's just, oh, so that's what it means now. So yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because you can still catch all the like what is it trying to say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, and what other things? Okay, so that's about the character, and what about the theme? The theme of the book. What do
Mm,
you think are the themes of the book, of the story, the novel?
I think well, the main theme would be like love and marriage, right? Because that's what the entire book is about. But I like how Jane Austen, she touches on um, like the unfairness of having an estate entailed to a male like heir, that like gender inequality, and then gender inequality, sorry, and there were some parts where, what is it, when Elizabeth, she denied Mr. Collins, the clergyman's proposal, she was like, I'm not trying to make you want me more. I'm talking to you as a rational creature. And considering that time they can't vote yet, like women couldn't vote yet, and they, well, most of the time they were considered like less than a man. That's a really great stance to take on. Like, she's like, I am my own self and I can make my own like choices. And I really like that. I think that's one of the big themes as well in her novels. And yeah, and you see that in how she like judges Charlotte for marrying Mr. Collins just for money. She was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You have your own choices and all of that. And so, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't. I mean, even if she knows the consequences of her decision will be, being unmarried and being, left behind
Mm-hmm.
by men. But she doesn't care. She just follow her heart, kind of thing. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing about her. So it's about women standing up for themselves, uh, just within that space where they have power over. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like my decision, my own. Like it's not something that like maybe in the public spaces or in the church maybe, but it is just for herself, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's so good that she emphasizes that, and that's something that we take out from that story, right? Okay, so that's the first
Mm-hmm.
one about women standing up for herself and about marriage, yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
And it's also, what other themes do you think we can see from the story, other than the two?
Hmm. I would say that, and like I said, what is it? Gender inequality and the fact that the estate is entailed solely to a male heir. It's sexist. That's for sure. It's sexist, and
Yeah,
I like how she touches about it. Like you'll see the mom, Mrs. Bennett, talk about it like often. She's like, why does the estate have to go to a male heir? And that's cool because at that time that's the norm, right? And nobody can really have a say about it. But Jane Austen is putting her thoughts into like her works, and when people read it, they're like, oh yeah, I agree with that. And that's, yeah, I like it. I like how she presents that, how she fights for her right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, like also because at the time there are no other choices. Like um, that's how the world or that's how society exists at the time. Yeah, like people just there were wars, and then people doing business, especially people from the higher class, right? Like the business people, and I think I see in one of the critics toward Jane Austen's work were about or was about the lack of picturing or describing the people from lower classes
Mm-hmm.
situations. But of course, this is like, because she tried to focus on what happened here. Like even if you have higher what is it status, higher class, it doesn't mean that you have choices. You don't have a lot of choices. If you are women,
Mm-hmm.
that is something. The only thing you can do to pursue your life is getting married.
Mary.
And I think also Jane Austen's her own life, she didn't marry. Also, she didn't
Mm-hmm.
marry but there were already some proposals, but uh, she ended up didn't marry, and then she will be taken care of by her brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe because maybe the hire of the property will be to her brothers, so that means they will be the one who like kind enough to share, and so she's like under them, like you know it's amazing and it's sad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but what are other things that you catch? What about the culture? What about dance? The dance, the dancing as a way of social thing, like being
Mm-hmm.
as a way of being picked by men. It's amazing.
I think one of the like big reasons I like this book as well is because of that like social environment where in nowadays like it doesn't matter like Papuans say ko siapa sa siapa, so like they don't care, right? Nobody cares now, but back then like your reputation is everything. So how you act in a ball, how your family acts, like it's not even just you, it's now your whole family. Like how does your father act, how does this act? I think Jane Austen portrays that like really well. She and like the dancing as a social outing, like that's the only time where you get to like touch another, like the opposite gender really. And I think it's not like now where you have social media and you can like, I don't know, flirt wherever, whenever you want. And so that was, I really like that. I like how they have to be careful not to be too like too open and too flirtatious, but then at the same time they also have to make sure that they're gonna get a proposal from someone like want like yeah in the end. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing that through her work we can have like a window to look at the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hmm. Like a time machine to travel back time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. That's why like maybe when I start, when we start talking, the talk, I was saying that maybe you are reading some more serious book, but I think I was wrong. I should have not saying novel as being not serious and more laid back, but actually, even if like actually a very good fiction book is a portray, it helps us understand. It's like a picture, like and a time machine or whatever, to help us understand the facts, especially from yeah, it's like a history book, but fiction kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's not tedious to read, it's actually interesting.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and so yeah, about the dance, yeah, about the way they dress up, also maybe because it's very different from our culture. I'm not going to talk about like colonialism and slavery and things like that. Maybe we're not going to talk about it right now, but like the Victorian time, like this time of and space where people are dressing in a certain way and doing things in a certain way. It's very different from ours. But I think it's important for us to, if we like it, to learn about it and to know about it. Yeah, like how women and men like relate with each other, how they dress up, and how the culture shaping everything. Yeah, and the norms that people have, how it shaped their relationship and everything. And I think it's great that you, with your passion for reading, you have that opportunity to have that kind of opportunity. I mean, what is it? Access to all this, different knowledge and culture. I'm talking too much here, but anyway, um, what about the plot? What about the plot of the story? How do you find it?
Uh, I really
Think
like
it.
it. Um, it's believable and relatable in a way because I see it happening all around me all the time. Like the like even in Papuan culture, some people still marry for financial stability, and so that's relatable and understandable. And I like it, and the plot is really funny. The characters are really funny and comedic books. And then I really I like romance books, but the tropes like Elizabeth and Darcy, enemies to lovers, is like chef's kiss. It's like my favorite trope, so I really enjoy it. That mixed with comedy, and then also they throw in some like real life situation there, like elopement, and then this pursuit of like money, and then well, the central themes of love and all that. I enjoy it. I enjoy reading it, and the main character, the main like girl character, is strong, and she's not like, I don't know how to explain it, like she's not meek or timid, and so, and I really like characters like that, especially when they portray women as that. So yeah, the plot, yep, I really like it. It's enjoyable, and I can read this over again. So
Yeah, she's brilliant, Jane Austen, and I think all her works like Emma, Sense and Sensibility, it is, and there are
mm-hmm.
a few more. A few more. Most of them are already being filmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
By Hollywood,
Yes,
by
yes,
also by big stars, Kate Winslet
mm-hmm.
for Sensibility, Keira Knightley, is it?
Here
For
Knightley, yes.
the for Pride and Prejudice. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's amazing. Hmm. And I also like, and also it's so real too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
about them pretending like the house were messy, and like when the maid, they all have maids, right?
Yeah.
So when the maid came as to say that, oh, there is this visitor, like one of the men coming, they will all clear up everything, and try to be in their best look, right? It is very much like today. I mean, that's why I like what you said about it is also relatable, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
even today, even now, like we can be very different, but there are so many similar. It's always the same. Like we're trying
Mm-hmm.
to, like as women, we want to get married, right? We want to have relationship. We want to have, but of course, some people would like the character of Elizabeth. She will always try to, be her true self and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
there are people who are not able to do that, not only because of their character, but because of their circumstances. Yeah, like that's why
Yes.
maybe like from the lower class they have no choice. Like for example, if you remember all the stories, like the fairy tale story about even in the Bible, like in the story of Esther, these women from the villages, they were being collected, not collected, but being summoned or being carried to the palace, and the king will choose who she like to marry, like as a
Mm-hmm.
concubine, like Salir or something. So
Yeah.
there are lots of, like, through times, women are facing a lot of challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the culture that we have, it is like in some culture, I mean, we might feel that we are very different, but we are also very similar in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because we are human being, and there are we have that kind of similarities also, yeah, like all the social issues
Mm-hmm.
and problems that we face right now with regarding marriage, regarding not only marriage but any relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Okay, now let's put it into our context, yeah, if you don't mind. Like, what are the, maybe we'll just focus on the main character here that you and me really like, Elizabeth, who are being pick up of herself, who are not letting anybody, control her decision. See, I think in gender studies, maybe later on when you graduate, you will learn, or maybe even now. Sorry, I didn't have to say that. I don't have to say that. But even now, maybe you can learn like about agency, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about Elizabeth practicing and exercising her agency. as a woman, right? To say
Mhm.
something herself, right? Even if the society and the norms are, saying the other, saying other ways, or telling otherwise. So regarding our our current situation, or our context right now in Papua that you maybe see, um, do you think we today have people who are like any of the characters? Like maybe, I'm sure you because you really like Elizabeth, you would, you want to be like her. You want to be,
Yeah.
you want every girls to be like her, right? Maybe that's something that you really like, and that's why you read it over and over again, right?
I want to marry a rich man too. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Amen to that. Yeah, but I see one of, no, 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 no. My point is not about merit, but my point is about how she as a girl stand up for herself,
Mhm.
exercising her agency, being this is my decision, this is my choice. Don't tell me otherwise if I don't want it, right? Even if
Mhm.
she will be considered strange by her surroundings. Yeah, you think that that's something that we as girls have to do now?
I think I don't think all girls like I think uh, anybody should have the right to choose what they want to do with their life. So if you want to marry, sure. If you don't want to marry, sure. It's all regarding like choice and the freedom to have that choice. And unfortunately, not everyone have the freedom to have that choice. And even though I really want everyone to have that choice, like especially women, like you really shouldn't have to marry or you shouldn't have to do something just because of like this other thing like that, like driving you, maybe like poverty. You shouldn't have to marry just to escape poverty, or you shouldn't have to make this decision just to like escape from something else. And in that regard, I want all of us to be like Elizabeth, to just stay strong, like stay firm in her decision. Like she's like, oh no, I will marry for love and only for love. And that's that's amazing for like, that's an amazing thing to stand up for. Like your principles is something that you should stand up for. And I hope that people might see that and they might be inspired to take themselves seriously and be like, oh no, I won't do this if I don't want to, and all that.
Yes, amen for that. And but I think now there are lots of cases and there are lots of situations
Mm-hmm.
or circumstances where it is not, maybe we are not no longer, it is no longer the case where there is arranged marriage, even though in some
Mm-hmm.
places, in some part in our place, and even maybe outside of our place, like if we go further and beyond, uh, there is no longer arranged marriage. But I think it is different now. It is just a different setting at the moment. Yeah, right now. Yeah, like people choose to marry somebody, or have a relationship with somebody, and they will decide to get married. Like even if like in the younger, when they are very young, and maybe they don't yet have like proper jobs, and they just
Mm-hmm.
decided to get married, and then they become the responsibility of their parents, for example. But if you look at it, there are so many what is it, layers of problem. But maybe if you do research, we can see the, what is it, the pattern, yeah, of why people getting married, and
Yeah.
how it is being done, yeah. And especially in our place, we also have issues like bride price and stuff like that. So there are
Mhm.
lots of layers and problems. Maybe one day you will be like Jane Austen, write about our context. And do you think that's something that you really like to do maybe in the future, or maybe you have start right now, or you are now
Or
indulging yourself and you know enjoying yourself, into the love of reading and stuff like that.
um, I like to write. I like to write, but I don't think my writing is good. I don't know. Maybe I think it's a skill you have to develop, and I should be developing that skill, but I think I speak better than I write. So I don't know. We will see.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I have so much faith in you because that, like, as I read somewhere that readers are leaders or leaders are
Mm,
readers. Yeah, leaders are leaders. So I think I'm personally also being shaped by like reading a lot of books. Well, especially when I was younger, I read a lot of books, and I think that really shaped my
mm,
perspective on life. And so I think with you are so much better than me in terms of you have a lot
no.
of reading. You have already read so much, and I mean you have good opportunities ahead of you and good future ahead of you, and you have already developed that, but well, not developed, but you just have that passion of reading, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
so great that you have that, and I'm sure in the future you will have, maybe if you like, that you don't have to, but if you like, you can also be as great as Jane Austen, who can be able, as a woman, using your point of view to write about our society, like your critics about our circumstances, especially the one that will put one of the gender or some people, uh, to be vulnerable and to be in the lower
Mm-hmm.
position, or in the unfortunate position, yeah, like maybe man, maybe woman, because there are so many layers of that. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like in the novel, in Jane Austen's novel. Well, of course, this is like only for the middle class group, yeah. So middle class and upper class group, we are not being exposed to like this the lower level of
Mm-hmm.
like people who are in poverty and stuff like that, yeah. So they might have a different circumstances that is not being captured here, but maybe for the case of Charlotte, who married to Master Collins, she might
Mm-hmm.
have that kind of circumstances, like harder
Yeah.
circumstances. She cannot be able to um, but do you think? But I don't think that our, being poor will. I mean, you can still be stand up for yourself even if you're poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Even if it is harder. Maybe it is harder. Maybe like Elizabeth are in the is sorry. Elizabeth is in the middle class situation, so she might have a better. She might be in the higher in the what is it better option, circumstances than Charlotte, for example,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, who are from the lower
Yeah.
class. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I mean, you know, uh, there are so many things that we can talk, especially when we want to relate to our circumstances in Papua, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think it is not because of geographical. I don't think geographical. I know that our geographic circumstances will affect our access to anything. But I think like what Jane Austen is trying to do is she is focusing more on personal decision. Yeah, like we have
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth's sister who eloped with Mr. Wickham. She is from the richer family, but she can have like a decision she make for herself, which is not great, right?
Yeah.
So right, so
Mm-hmm.
she's fortunate in terms of her what is it, financial situation,
Mm-hmm.
social class, but she can come up with a very poor decision for a young girl, right? Because she put herself in, and she put herself, at least her entire family, like being considered, oh, like the reputation of the Bennett family, even if, I mean, it's like you said, yeah, it's important, but and maybe it's not something like people can keep their reputation by, you know I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that uh, people can try to keep their reputation by being not honest, right? Uh, and a lot. I think, like, even now when it is open, a lot is something that is considered not right and not good, right?
Yeah.
Even now,
Mm-hmm.
even now. So, like, they are trying to keep their reputation, and still, being a lot is one of the, like, very bad one,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Yeah, even in that moment, in that, I mean, even now,
Yeah.
running away with men, like, you need to, I don't know, like, maybe because, do you think it's wrong, they don't agree that she needs to marry that officer, that soldier, kind of, Mr. Wickham? Because maybe, like, even if he is a soldier, he might have, like, a good life and a good, what is economic situation, that her family should have let her, but he didn't, and that's why she ran away. I don't know. What do you think of that? If you still remember, sorry.
I think that what is it? Um, the problem with Wickham is not that he's like a soldier or anything like that. It's the fact that what is it? He like preys on girls for money. Like that's really what he does. He did
Okay,
it.
right.
He tried to do it with Darcy's sister, right, Miss Georgiana. But then Darcy intercepted, and he didn't get a chance to elope with her. And so he did it to Lydia instead because Lydia is an easier prey. And in the end, like it's obvious that all he wants is money because um, Darcy had to pay him to marry Lydia, right? So, and also that Lydia is really young. If you think about it now, it's kind of like a 16-year-old with a full-grown adult, and I don't really condone with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, because I forgot also that part about the marriage, the story of these two, Lydia and
Mhm.
Wickham. So Wickham. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this it is a big issue. It's a big theme, marriage.
Mhm.
Even today, yeah, it has a lot of factors into it, like, what age, and then the, what is it, the financial needs that comes along with it, and,
Mhm.
like, um, and right now, like, if we talk about right now, it's also talks about whether or not there are jobs opportunity for young people, right? After they graduate, they will have to have, you know places where they can apply for jobs, and then after they got job, they got some stable work, and then they can get married, but it is not
Mhm.
always the case, right? It is like,
Mhm.
so there are so many marriages that happen before one can have a stable job. So that means it
Mm-hmm.
takes it adds the responsibility and burden to the parents. And sometimes we have women who works and men stay at home, something like that. And I think I value people who can think that it's normal. It's normal
Mm-hmm.
for because if the women got the chance first, it's okay because if
Yeah.
if it's the other way around, if men are the one who work, women can stay at home and help with the logistic, or sorry, the domestic jobs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I hope that Papuans can see that as a normal thing also. If only
Yes, I
one of them,
agree.
right? So if women are the one who got the chance to work, that's okay. And that
Mm-hmm.
it has to be discussed and accepted by our culture and our norms. Otherwise, the women will get a lot of burden. She has to work in wherever she is working, and then back home she will get a lot of refusal and anger or whatever from the
Mm-hmm.
family, right? Especially from the family of the man. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and also the cost of marriage, right? Well, not marriage, but wedding. Yeah, like in your wildest dream, do you like a simple marriage, I mean wedding, or a very fancy and glorious one?
Oh, for me, I would like a simple. I would like a simple marriage where it's just me, my
Wedding,
family, and friends. Yeah.
simple
Hmm.
wedding. Wedding, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
the marriage itself can be what is it? The marriage is a longer lifestyle, but the wedding is one day, right? And it costs a
Yeah.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in our culture, there are lots of discussion around bride price, but we don't see. Maybe it doesn't really talk about here, but maybe it's about the what is it? It's about the prospect, not the prospect, but like for example, when Darcy's aunt, she said that Elizabeth shouldn't marry him because she's from the lower class and they are not as rich as Darcy, right? So maybe it's not being talked about a lot, but uh, whatever like the women have is important. Is being one of the factor whether she will be
Mm-hmm.
married. She will be favorable to be married by a very rich people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you
I think what is it? Like here, the bride prices are paid by the men, right? Most of the time. But there, I think they have a system of dowries in the book where the woman brings a certain sum of money as well into the marriage. And I think one of the reasons Mrs. Bennett was like crazy and trying to get her daughters to marry well was because they don't have a dowry. Even though they're like middle class, the father didn't put a certain sum of money for his children. And so they're all, when he dies, they're all just going to be poor. And that's why she's trying so hard for them to marry well. And it is something that Darcy and Bingley had to like contemplate with before marrying the Bennett sisters because they are poor, even though they are middle class. When the father died, they're bringing nothing to the table, and it did play quite, I think, played quite a big part in the book. How it connects with us, um, I don't know. I think yeah, here we just the bride prices are paid by the men, so it's just like a large sum put on them. So I don't really know.
yeah Correct. Thank you for sharing about what happened in the story about that topic or the theme. But I think in our context, some
Mm-hmm.
culture might have like in beer culture. Actually, it is like the both sides. So, for example,
Oh.
yeah. So, for example, if I get married and my husband's family are paying my bride price, then we will have to. My family will need to take me to my husband's family with so many stuff that is paid by my family.
Mm.
Like they call it like your perkakas dapur kind of thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it can be like it depends. Like if the husband are paying like good stuff, my family needs to also pay back. Like for example, um, buying refrigerators and just everything that I
Oh.
would need for my family. So it's like both family are doing that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, so both family. But I think in from the story I heard from like so many weddings that I heard, uh, this is like among not black people, but I think all ethnic groups. Yeah, like it will be paid by both family. Like for example, for the wedding, the women's family will pay this
Han.
like 50-50 almost.
Yeah.
Except if the family want, like the men family say, oh, it's okay, we will cover that. Then okay,
Yeah.
there are a lot of meetings. Yeah, you heard
Mm-hmm.
from your parents, your mom and dad, maybe from your family, from the relatives wedding. So it's being paid for by the two parties, not only men. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there are lots of negotiation. There are lots of um, agreement being made among or between the two parties, and
Mm-hmm.
in trying to make it like not one only one party taking care of everything, and it will become conflicts and fights
Mm-hmm.
later. Like even like there are lots of situation where um, there are even fights in the wedding because of this agreement. This kind of agreement are not being settled. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you are just like and we we have to talk about marriage and wedding, but this is in regard to
No, it's
yeah,
no. I like this discussion.
yeah. Okay, so I think that's great. Just a little bit that we covered a little bit from the
Mm-hmm.
story. What are the other things that you think we miss from talking about the book? What are other topics that we miss?
Mm. Oh, quotes. Do you have any favorite quotes from the book?
I forgot many of them, but at least I read it only once, just for you to
Mm.
remember that. Yeah, but maybe from the preparing for these talks, I also have a look
Mm-hmm.
at the movie, and it is just beautiful. I just love how they exchange conversation. There are lots of words being used, and even in the book, even in the novel, I remember like so many words are being used, and yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
it's a very rich language. I must admit, and it's a beautiful culture. Even if I know that there are lots of tragedy, like the irony in the novel, in the story, but it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's beautifully written. So yeah, I love, just like what you said. She's a genius, and also like
Yeah.
it's amazing how she can, like she was born in 1817. Like this is like ages ago, and it was always like in
Mm-hmm.
that era. She must have like she's like I mean she's gifted, she's very talented, yeah, in to be able to do all that. And well, they call it mm, apa budaya tidak, we have, kita punya budaya like oral ya, like kita punya budaya lisan, sementara mereka tuh punya budaya tertulis ya. So it's not higher, it's just different and beautiful. I'm sure that every culture is
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, especially in a from the environment now, environment, like fights and uh, people are more now learning and looking at all the indigenous values, and how all the indigenous values are a very wise and very you know a very simple way of living that people now
Mm-hmm.
return to, right? So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
any culture is higher than any other
Yeah,
culture.
I get what
uh,
you mean.
do you agree with me, right? So it doesn't mean that all this culture, because it is being written, because there are lots of words, it is higher than us. It is not higher. We cannot compare, but it is just beautiful the way it is, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So language and the story and the brilliant, intelligent Jane Austen, who is, yeah, just I just love her. And she is able to, work on this great story. And even now, it can be talked about two Papuan women. So it's like it's universal, and it has no time. Apa?
Mm-hmm.
Tidak ada batas waktu. What is it
Iya
called in
benar.
English?
Um,
Yeah,
unending. I don't know.
yeah. We can look it up later. But yeah, I really appreciate you, May. I think you are a brilliant young girl, and you should be proud of yourself. Not to boost you, but I
Thank
mean,
you.
you are. I mean, I'm so grateful for your family and your parents too. I think they're doing great job raising you, and for you to be able to, have the love to read. I think it's something that we need to encourage so many young girls to do the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love read because it's just so amazing. But that doesn't mean that they have to, have a like reading are better hobbies than other hobbies. It's not the
Yeah.
case.
No.
But it's like we are feeding our brain always, right? So it's not
Mm-hmm.
skinny and malnutrition like a person who have malnutrition, but it's very healthy, and it's very I think it's great if you love reading, because now we have access to it. Of course, there are, like you said, there, like in your prayer, there are lots of people who don't have access like we do, like access to, because like I think one of the issue that we face in Papua is what do you call it, when people don't read, illiterate. Illiteracy is
Mm.
also very um, it's also a big issue, like in the remote areas, even in any school. It is not, maybe because of COVID also. Not every school have libraries, and
Mm-hmm.
reading is not, being encouraged in schools. So it's something that we have to think about. Like, well,
Mm-hmm.
we hope that people will, push themselves and read
Yes.
and um, what is it? Do something with their life to improve themselves, right? At least through reading,
Mm-hmm.
because we have choice. Like, so many of us now have choices, right? Have
Yes.
access
I'm
to
thinking. Yeah.
choices, right? Yeah. So And also about English, like your English is so good. Is it because you go to XS, or what do you think? How do you
Um,
contemplate over that? If you ever contemplate over that.
I would say going to HIS definitely plays a huge role in like the improvement of my English, like my pronunciation and stuff. Being around native speakers helped because I get to listen how they speak, and then I grew up with that. I use their idioms and expressions and jargons and all that. And I'm just surrounded by that 8 hours a day. I think it's, yeah, 8 hours a day, more or less, for 5 days in a week over 6 months. So it definitely plays a huge part in the improvement of my English. But reading also plays a great amount of, what is it? Like, it plays a great amount in like the addition of my vocabulary and maybe how to express myself. I think reading helped with that, and watching movies. Yeah, listening and just like, I don't know, what do you call it? Being exposed to English in a day-to-day manner helped with with the improvement of my English.
And I'm glad that
Yeah.
you're not becoming you're not becoming like a Western person. You are still you, and your gesture and your personality. That's something that I really like about you. Even though if I just know you through your mom, but I think the first time I met you, I remember the first time I met you, I already know that I'm going to be close to this girl and we will have to do something great together because I
Aww.
see you and I know right away. Remember? I think you still, I don't know if you still remember, but I think we met in one of your mom's, in one of the occasion where I met your mom, and that's when I know right away that I will be close with this girl. Because
Aww.
you have something really positive about you, and you are not you're still humble, and you're still Papuan. You're still just like any Papuan girl, but even though you have this access and you speak great English, and you haven't even been to the state, right? But you sounds really like, you know but it doesn't mean that we have to be like somebody else. No, we
Yeah.
can still be ourselves. But if this is something that you want to, improve yourself with, like learning English and improve yourself in that
Mm-hmm.
area, I think it will take you further in life, and you can be useful to other people, right? And this is like actually
Yes.
this is actually my intention in doing this. It's not to show off, but I hope that when people see us talking, especially not me, because I know that I was not really leading well this is my first time too, and I think in my mind I was thinking differently. I was thinking something different, and I was trying to find my words. But anyway, the actual intention of doing this is that I hope that many young girls and boys, any Papuan person who are watching this would be inspired, will be inspired, and they will. Uh, well, even if not all of us can go to HIS, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, but doesn't mean that we can start to love reading, right? Because you
Yes.
also said that not all of your friends have the passion of reading, because well, I mean there are lots of hobbies. You can have different hobbies, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe by reading, by if you like to read, then you can improve your English, and then but also not only for English, but to language itself, like Indonesian.
Mm-hmm.
You can start by reading Indonesian books, right? So that it really helps start something in your brain, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
jump or then go to English, because it's about words, about being friends with words and all the meanings that it carried and stuff like that, right? That's why I was really fortunate. Like, I'm also blessed because in English department in Cenderawasih University, even if it is a teaching department, it is not literature department, but we have literature being taught. So in English department in Cenderawasih University, we study about teaching, about linguistic, and about literature. So there are three aspects being taught during our time in English department. So if you're more passionate to go deeper into linguistic, then you are welcome to do so. If you're more into teaching, then you are welcome to do so. And if you are more into literature, into reading, you can also do that. Like, choose that as your passion kind of thing. And I think for me, it was teaching and literature. I'm not really good at linguistics. Yeah, so, but there are lots of my friends in English department who are working like as Bible translator, and also they also
Mm.
explain the richness of our Papuan language, Papuan ethnics, ethnics language. Like, they try to explain that, and it's just amazing. It's so deep and so wide, like all the
Mm-hmm.
aspects of language within our culture, like within our ethnic groups. Yeah, so I'm just. So I think one of the things that we have to be grateful for is our access to education, right? Do you agree with
Yes.
me? Yeah, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
thankful for our fathers. I am thankful for my fathers and my mother and my grandmother very much. For I think I feel kind of sad also. I think in Papua we are very grateful if we have fathers who are supporting of us girls to go to school, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, uh, we are grateful that they can send us to school and don't think that, oh, you girls, you have to get married because that's where you belong, in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to. That's one of the progress that we have to be grateful about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't you think?
Yes.
Don't you?
I.
If we are living in that age and era, like in the Bennett girls, oh, I'll be like Elizabeth. I will. I will not. Oh, I don't want to just being married off because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my life, and you know just stay back.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that being a housewife is not important. I think it's also very important. Actually, our nation going down because some families do not have great mothers. I don't know.
Mm,
Maybe I was wrong. I'm wrong to say that, because it's not only mothers who are playing the important roles, both and everybody, not
both
only
parents.
the two. Yeah, like the mothers. Like, it takes a village to raise a family and to raise a great kids like you.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot
Anyway,
of people
maybe,
definitely played part.
yeah. I don't know. There will be lots of words that maybe if we look back at this recording, there are lots of words that is not correct or politically correct, whatever. But we can fix that later. But anyway,
Yes.
it is a free space for us to talk. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanna share in terms of anything that we've been discussing in the last 2 hours?
Mm, I think we covered up pretty well a bunch of the things I wanted to talk about. So I'm just really grateful I get to talk about Pride and Prejudice today, and I'm really thankful for that opportunity.
What are the books that you are reading right now? Is there anything interesting that you would like to share, like about any book that you have?
I'm reading 2 Indonesian books right now and 2 English books. So I'm reading, I think it's Ronggeng Duku Paru for Indonesian, and also Laut Bercerita. Those 2 books, and then I don't know the authors. I've never read the author, like a book from the author before, so I don't know for sure. I didn't pay attention. And then 2 English books, The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. I don't know how to pronounce this name. And then the other one is it The Third Girl by Agatha Christie? So Agatha Christie, I don't know how to pronounce her name either. So
yeah, it's famous too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, awesome. I mean, I hope this will not be the first time we chat here with you. I hope that later on, I also encourage you to open a space and, like, I mean, start something like this on your own. Like, we need to, present somebody like you, so that just, because you have read a lot and you can start talking about the books that you read, and I'm sure it will encourage many girls out there to also start reading and sharing about it and learn from it, because there are lots of insights that we can get from reading books, right?
Yes.
And don't forget the book, which is the Bible, because I think
the Bible.
It's a beautiful. Yeah, it's. I think, I don't know. Maybe growing up, as you get older, you become more attached to it. Well, not attached, but I mean, you have lots of. I mean, a new way of looking at things. Not a new way, but like a better way
Maybe
of looking at things.
More.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word. I become more I mean, I appreciate it more. Thank you. That's the right, and I think we should close at that. I think this is great. I think I really appreciate you, and I'm really blessed by you. I think you have great future ahead, and I'm so glad that you've done what you do, what you've done. Ya, I don't know. Like, sudah melakukan apa yang dilakukan selama ini, itu bagus sekali. I hope that
Terima kasih banyak.
I hope and I pray that God will bless you and shine His face upon you, and His light will shine upon you. I mean, and yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just so great. I'm so blessed by you. Sorry.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed.
I'm really grateful for you too.
Yeah. And I hope you will stay the same, and you will read more, and you will share with us more, and it will be so great to know and to hear from somebody like you, girls like you. Yeah?
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have to close this right now, and maybe I will be the one who pray. Yeah?
Yes.
Because you have help in the opening. Okay. Father, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for this space that you have given us, for us to learn from each other. I thank you for Mey. I thank you for her insight and her intelligence, her life that she has shared with us tonight, especially her heart, Papa. Father, we hope that we will be inspired to continue to do something like this, and we hope that many girls, many boys, many people will be inspired to do something with the life that you have given them, that you have given us. I thank you for parents, May parents, for raising her, and for all the blessing that you have given to her through them, Papa, Father. And I also pray for all the young people across Papua and whoever reading or following our conversation, that they their life will be blessed also, and their life will be inspired and will be changed according to your wonderful, wonderful plans in our life. Thank you, Father. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Terima kasih. Terima
Amen.
kasih. I usually, if I pray, I say Papa. So I don't know. I mean, it's somewhere. But thank you so much, Mey. And please accept our invitation if we want to invite you again, ya. In the
Siap.
future.
Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih. Tuhan berkati. Selamat malam.
Wah.
Wah.